What's going on, guys? Wanted to make a quick video again. It's been a couple days, about 10 days or so. The to-do list gets long, without a doubt. But wanted to touch on a couple of things I saw this week, or last week, a little over a week ago that I thought were pretty interesting. Stupid, not gonna lie, pretty stupid. Um, and I'd say like manipulative. Definitely pretty manipulative when it comes to how we measure GDP. Um, watching the news, can get pretty depressing. Depressing. There's a lot of noise. Definitely. Some of it is concerning. Some of it does have bite to it, but other stuff is can be sort of manipulative in its own way, while also being some of it's BS a lot of times. But the Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and Elon Musk as well, they mentioned stripping out government spending as from the GDP. Um, Besides the fact that we do that, and it is called a real GDP, which you can find online. Um, Pretty interesting way to sort of make what they're doing look better in their own way. You look at the real GDP, and you're not really even gonna see that. But I mean, to start, government spending is essential, especially in this country. The deficit, I'm of the belief that the deficit being at the number it is very, it's not nearly as consequential as they believe. Um, and, I think Congress, if anything, has to do a lot more to curb inflation. Um, but essentially, you know, because they realize that GDP is going to launch way down when they decide that we're not going to spend money, even though we need to spend money here, right? Um, Throughout our history, the more we've spent um, on things like social programs, um, looking to invest in schools, hospitals, paying for education, right? It really led to a lot of prolonged, uh, I don't want to say greatness, but I'd say, a lot of prolonged growth. Um, and there, I see in the news all sorts of crazy things about the gold standard, and how we moved away from it, and it caused all this chaos and such. But um, there are other things, I would say, that are pretty bad, that have nothing to do with that. And I mean, um, when we did do that, we were going through stagflation, and we had an economy that could not simply be limited to how much gold we had. Um, yeah. So, I mean, that's that. We also do have, like, we are the reserve currency. Um, Everything on the planet requires the dollar. Um, so, to kind of sit here and just start slashing programs, and to kind of indiscriminately decide that this is a waste of money without really understanding um, why a program might be implemented, and just kind of just looking at it from I don't even want to say an accounting perspective because there isn't forensic accounting going on. Um, they're just kind of looking at the names of things and saying, "This is what does Twitter think about it?" I mean, it's stupid. It's very stupid. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating from the perspective that I'm coming from as an analyst. That this is going to lead to a essentially hitting the brakes on American growth and American prosperity. Um, you're throwing millions of eventually. I mean, they've up to them. Millions of people will be out of work, and that kind of also leads to the next point here. I saw that Donald Trump said something about cutting taxes to zero for everybody making under $150,000 a year. That is moronic. That is one of the stupidest things you could do. I know people are excited that they don't have to pay taxes, right? But um, let's see. So we don't pay taxes on healthcare in America for the most part. We do pay into Obamacare or whatever is happening right now. There is a medical um, program that we do pay into, um, but otherwise it's privatized, right? We don't pay for a universal healthcare system. Um, I could go into what Obamacare is and what it does. Long story short, it's not a universal healthcare system. Not like they have in Europe, not like they have in Canada, right? Um, our healthcare system is crap. We have great doctors, we have great technology, but the insurance industry is price gouging all day, every day. They're indiscriminately deciding they're not going to pay for a surgery or they're not going to pay for some sort of rehab or whatever, right? Like they're making these top down cuts on a minute to minute basis. Um, and fine, we don't pay taxes for a universal healthcare system, so we don't have one. But then we have to also pay, people have to pay for their medical bills that can just randomly be thousands of dollars. So I bring this up because that's what's going to happen. If the government doesn't offer programs that are robust, right? Who pays for that? It's going to be us. It's going to be the people, right? And who feels that harder? It's not going to be the wealthiest people. It's not going to be Elon Musk. It's not going to be Donald Trump. It's going to be the guy making 35K or the unemployed person who is now stuck in a system where there isn't any kind of safety net if you just lose your job. And you can basically be indiscriminately fired from your job. This is going to cause, like, just on a human level, this is going to cause chaos and destruction. Um, that is just going to be the slow burn. That is going to just, we've already kind of felt it. We felt it a lot. A lot of people feel this. But you cut all taxes for people under $150,000. For one, you're going to pay more in state taxes because now the states are going to want to, they're going to be looking to replace those services with their own services, right? Two, um, like people are going to leave their states. Like if your state can't get, there are no good social programs in your state. Um, you're gonna realize you have to leave, like, like, or I think Ron DeSantis or I don't know, in Florida. I know down in Florida, they're right now cutting income taxes, not income tax. I'm sorry, property taxes, right? So they don't want to pay. They don't want people who buy homes to pay property taxes. I'm sorry. Like you don't want a government. You don't want a federal government. You don't want a federal government spending money, and you don't want to pay taxes on property, right? So what? You're gonna have the entire populace is already broke, start paying like more sales tax, you think that's gonna be enough? And then like over time, it's gonna just degrade the quality of everything, and people aren't gonna want to come out here. It's not just you're gonna want like people go to Florida for the weather, um, and like half of the weather, like half the in large parts of the summer, it's not an inhabitable place to be, and storms are only going to get worse. I've worked in climate. I've seen projections, um, and I don't even have to have worked in climate to have seen the projections. Um, and you're just going to see it's going to get more expensive on the state level to do everything. Prices are going to go up at the grocery store, everywhere. There are not going to be robust services in smaller states that can't afford to create these services. Um, Department of Education is getting dismantled, so grants and scholarships are going to be harder to come by. So it's going to be harder for you to go to school. You're going to have a less literate, less in every way, like even basic literacy, economic literacy, government literacy, um, and you think about it and you talk about it, and I'm kind of I have to freestyle here, but I'm at times I'm even in real time just putting the pieces together, and um, I don't see like a on a human level a good future here. Um, Maybe people's paychecks get a little bigger. Is it gonna beat out the the more you're gonna have to spend at the grocery store? Um, is it gonna beat out um, the how much money the wealthier are gonna like how much more they're gonna make because the stock market boomed and house prices boomed and you still can't buy a house and houses are more expensive and everything is more expensive, and like you also now have to pay probably more in other ways from the state, probably higher income taxes, or else like if they don't do that, where is the money coming from? Because again, we don't want to spend money in the federal government. So like you know it's either plainly sabotage from the top down on purpose, or they're so illiterate and they're so honestly moronic and they have such a shit understanding of civics that they don't even realize that we're not gonna be able to pay for anything unless we just print money. Um, so so yeah, um, just my thoughts on that. Um, um, it's a pain in the butt. Um, I mean, we're not even gonna respect Congress, so they can't even really control inflation down the line. Um, and also, I mean, there's other things. So I was kind of looking at my notes here. There's a lot of concern about the accuracy of economic data going forward. There's a lot of um, cutting of agencies that keep records. So who knows what's even happening? Honestly, at the top level. Um, I mean, I'm of the opinion that they're trying to crash the economy so that they can we can the Fed will lower interest rates. I don't know if they'll even do that. Um, but man, America is in a weird place. I think people really need to realize that um, we need a government, or else they're going to realize very quickly why it's there when the things you need are gone, and it's not just going to snap back. So like, give it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise, and these programs that are cut will come back even stronger in a couple years. I don't really see a situation in which what happens today and over the next few years is gonna convince voters to vote Republican again, or even vote along these ideological lines. I saw today that both parties have been polling lower. Um, so I don't know. Let's see. I mean, this may be the time for a third party to come in, or at least a brand new way of thinking about government, because I'm just very tired of these two libertarian parties that just want everything to run perfectly through magic so they can collect a fat salary and then get out whenever. Um, just pay for more cops so people are less likely to get at them. Um, so, yep, that's my thoughts for today. I think next time around I'll come through a little more organized. But I wanted to get this video out. Wanted to get my thoughts out. Um, interesting stuff. I do think the stock market will boom. Whether that is good for society, can't say there. Yeah. So yeah, before I go, too far off the ideological rails, follow me for more stuff, more information, more of these rants, my thoughts on the economy and where how I look at the gears and how they're turning and uh, what I think will happen when the various wrenches of day to day life get thrown in, and what I think happens to the whole machine. So thanks for checking this out. To 16 and a half minutes. If you stayed with me, you're loyal. You're a loyal good guy. So peace out, guys. Follow me on YouTube and check out the Discord. Feel free to follow me on there too. There's a free and paid tier. The paid tier is becoming more robust, and I'll be putting more of my research in there over time as I finish up on my end, and I put up a lot of free stuff too. So, um, yeah, thank you guys. Peace out.